Welcome to the first episode of Justin Peterson's video series, What in the World Are We Thinking? Every day, outrageous remarks are made about the 2020 presidential election, the COVID-19 pandemic, and Putin's invasion of Ukraine. These remarks are not grounded in truth or based on facts, logic, or common sense. How did the world get so far off in its thinking? In this episode, Justin addresses how to evaluate what is being said and the importance of seeking the truth.
Hi, I'm Justin Peterson. Welcome to the first episode of What in the World Are We Thinking? A program where we'll try to make sense of the thinking behind the actions that people are taking these days. Understanding how and what to think is critically important because our thinking drives our actions. I need to begin though with a caveat. Everything that I'm going to say is said with the assumption that you are a seeker of truth. If truth is not important to you, I recommend that you stop viewing this video now. We can't begin to deal with the nonsense going on in the world unless we understand that truth is the foundation for everything. We must know the truth before we can determine what is false. One thing that we have a real deficit of in America is truth. We can't discern it, don't speak it, and won't accept it. The writers of the Declaration of Independence penned, "We hold these truths to be self-evident." To write such a line requires the assumption of two things, that there is truth and that it is easily recognized. Since those lines were written, truthfulness has just about disappeared from our society. It's been kicked to the curb. We use it however it works best for us. If it doesn't serve us, we twist it, manipulate it, or abandon it altogether. Truth is reality. Until we can agree on that, we can't have a meaningful dialogue on how to move forward in this country. The first thing a seeker of truth can do is question the source of your information. There is a quote that is often misattributed to Mark Twain that says, "If you don't read the newspapers, you are uninformed. If you do read the newspapers, you are misinformed." In 1807, Thomas Jefferson said, "The man who never looks into a newspaper is better informed than he who reads them, inasmuch as he who knows nothing is nearer to truth than he whose mind is filled with falsehoods and errors." There's a plethora of falsehoods and errors being bandied about these days. The first thing a seeker of truth should question is the source that they are getting their information from. There are tools available on the internet for rating the accuracy and biases of news providers. All news sources have a bias. For most of them, it is whatever will make them the most money. It's more profitable to provide news that is provocative, titillating, and controversial than to provide accurate information. Remember, the photos you are seeing and the words used in a headline are chosen by the news source. I thought that it was interesting when Donald Trump seemed to be having the upper hand. The photos published of him were happy, smiling pictures. When the tide seemed to be turning, the media used angry and frowning images. If the media wanted to turn down the heat of their stories, why don't they use different language? Words like lambasted, tore apart, ripped open, etc. carry much more emotion than using words like questioned, debated, and reasoned with. There are also various fact-checking websites. Just because an article has been published and appears on social media or in print does not make it true. Check your story. The second thing a seeker of truth can do is to be aware of conspiracy theories. What are conspiracy theories? They are attempts to explain that certain events or phenomena are results of actions taken by powerful people who are carrying out hidden and sinister agendas to benefit themselves at others' expense. most conspiracy theories are discredited quickly. That is not to say that there have never been conspiracy theories that were real. There have been a few. It is common for conspiracy theories to spring up during times of great adversity and uncertainty. During the past few years, we've experienced social injustice, the coronavirus pandemic, and a hotly contested presidential election. Really a perfect storm. Psychologists tell us that humans have a psychological need for things to make sense, to be resolved, and to be understood. In the absence of those things, we cling to anything, accurate or not, that helps to explain what we are experiencing. People who fall prey to conspiracy theories are not few or far between. According to recent surveys, almost half of all Americans believe that Donald Trump won the election, but it was stolen from him through massive voter fraud. More than 1 in 3 Americans believe that the Chinese government engineered the coronavirus as a weapon. And another third are convinced that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention exaggerated the threat of COVID-19 to undermine then-President Trump. Conspiracy theories abound. Why is this so concerning? I believe that before we can attempt to solve America's problems, we must bring people closer together and begin to resolve the issues that are dividing us. This will only happen if we can sit down with one another and have constructive dialogue. Constructive dialogue requires us to have an open mind and a willingness and commitment to listen and understand what's being said. Holding on to conspiracy theory thinking is closed-minded and will never allow us to identify and deal with the root problems. Discovering doesn't happen until searching begins. Ironically, it's most often the creators and promoters of conspiracy theories that have the hidden and sinister agendas. Usually, the most accurate truth is the one that is the most obvious and the simplest. Fact-checking, common sense, and open-mindedness can help to keep us from falling prey to conspiracy theories. Let's stop with the conspiracy theories so we can start listening to one another and begin to get to the root of the problems that are dividing us. As we wrap up this first episode of What in the World Are We Thinking, here is one final piece of advice, and that is to look beyond a person's profession and education before accepting their credibility. When I was a young person, it was generally believed that because of someone's profession and education, a certain amount of credibility could be extended to them. We tended to believe that what was said by doctors and lawyers, scientists, educators, military leaders, business people, Congress people, and even presidents was true. However, as we have learned in recent years, that is no longer the case. Professional and educated people can be as far off in their thinking as anybody else. I hope that this episode has been of value to you. If so, please click the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified when the next episode is posted. In the next episode, we will be talking about the need for critical thinking in discerning the truth. I'll see you then.
Isn't it good to know where you're going? Isn't it good to know you found a way? You're homeward bound and now you've got a reason to travel on and look for better days. You're homeward bound and now you've got a reason to travel on and look